everyone, this is Rahul Boyer, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Learn AI with Rahul. So, we are discussing the basic data types in Python, and today we're gonna have extensive discussion on the another data type that is one of the most important data type in Python, that is strings. As I told you in my initial lectures, the strings are basically a character we can store numbers, then we can store alphabets in the form of characters in it. So as I told you how to initialize initialize those sorry how to initialize those strings, you can see over here that I can simply initialize by taking any name, like name of sport, and I can simply give it as cricket, and this cricket would be string. The syntax is very simple. Just that we have to give this give the uh, our value should be enclosed in a quotes. That's a very basic syntax, and you can see we have initialized the variable, and if I try to check what's the type of this variable, name of sport, and you will get that it's a string. The string basically stores the characters. Even we can also store the numbers, alphanumeric numbers, then we have alphabets, then we can have store the statements as well. But only mandatory condition that it should enclosed, in a quotes. If I give this way, you might think that it's an integer data type, but that's not the case, because in case of integer, we do not have this quotes. If I try to do this, and if I try to check, it's an integer, correct? What I will do, I will take this one from here and here. It's an integer data type. But let's assume that now I have given this one. I will clear all outputs. Okay, and now I try to give. You can see it's a 12. Output still is a 12, but it's a string data type. So only mandatory condition is that we have to give our value in enclosed quotations. That will basically consider as string. I can give anything, like I can even put statement into it. I am Rahul. Oh yeah, okay, and still gives a string. So I hope this is clear to everyone. And today I'm gonna give you one more concept in Python, that is about the methods. As I told you last time, that everything in Python is an object. Everything in Python is an object, and always remember that objects will always have some methods to it. What does this method means? Let's take the example of like something like take the example of the strings. What if I want to do some operations onto the strings? Let's assume that I have this name. I want to check, what is the length of the string. Length means how many characters are present in the string. So how do I check it? For that, Python developers have created the methods for string class. It's an inbuilt class. So we're gonna use those class. There are like several classes. There are a lot of methods for strings as well. So how to check for any variable, to know what are the methods associated with that variable? How to check the methods? Please try to understand. This might sound a little complicated, but it's very easy. For everything is object in Python. So in this case, this name of sport is an object. Okay, this is an object. It's object of string class. So this name of sport have now lot of methods associated with it. So how do I check that? So there is a very simple way to do it. In case of Python, if I try to see, if I put dir, I try to print this one. I have to simply print the dir. It's a method to look for all the methods which is related to this object. You can see this add class contains dir, doc, eq, format, and all of that. And apart from that, these all these methods which are double underscore are called Hello. Yeah, this is not the methods right now we should be focusing. I will be doing extensive discussion onto these methods later. But right now we're gonna focus on to these methods: capitalize, then we have case fold, center, count. I'm gonna explain each of these. But if you want to fetch all the methods in a string, for that matter any object, we can do this way. Today's scope of discussion is not this. I was just trying to tell you, only since we are at the very beginning of our journey with Python right now, you have to only know that there are some methods associated with the objects, and we're gonna discuss few of them today. There will be 3 to 4 lectures associated with all the strings, because strings are very important data type. You have to know all of its methods, what do they exactly do, and in the name of the methods are in such a way that you it will not take a very much time to understand what does that do. So today's lecture might take more than what we have expected. Usually I try to cover the whole thing in 10 to 15 minutes, but this might go well beyond 10 to 15 minutes. But I'm going to make the things easy for you. No need to worry. Yeah. So now what we're going to do is that since I am initialize this variable, I'm going to take one more variable, x, and its value is India. And if I try to check the length, if I want to know if I want to know how many characters are present into this string, I can simply use the length method. You can see there are five, because one is I, two is N, then DIA is basically there are 5 characters in India. So that's how we can actually get the um, length of a string. I hope this is very clear. Let's assume like now first method that we're gonna take is capitalize. As everybody know, what does it gonna do? Capitalize will do the first character in a string into a capital letter. I hope I am able to make you understand. Capitalize method will do the character in a string into a capital format. So I have initialized text as Python is amazing, and this text is an object now. As I told you, every object will have certain method. So we're gonna use the capitalize method, and its output we're gonna store into capitalized text. If I try to print that capitalized text, you can see it has actually changed this object. It has changed the content of that object. That means our text, that is Python, is amazing. Over here, the value of that text, this P is being capitalized. So you can use this capitalize function to capitalize something. I'm going to take another example. Let's assume that I have sport as one of the variable, and if I give it hockey, now if I try to capitalize, no need to after change I will give the name of the variable. You can give any name of the variable, and if I try to give this a capitalize, if I try to print, just to make you understand, I will put this h into lowercase, so that we can get, it is expected that the h will now get into capital. Yeah. Okay, I might have made some mistake, I guess so. Sport. Okay, sorry. I need to print the after change, because this is after change. Still the sport hold the earlier value, but since we initialized another variable called after change, I have to give this value to, we have to check whether it has actually changed it. You can see it has actually capitalized it. Okay, I hope this is clear. Capitalize. Then we have second one is case fold. As everyone might able to understand what does this might be slightly confusing, but case fold is basically what it does do. It actually, whatever the uppercase characters are in the string, it makes them into lowercase, and whatever the lower sorry, all those characters which are in uppercase, it just makes them into lowercase. You can see this HELLO was basically in uppercase, so that changed into lowercase. Then W, it has changed into lowercase, and rest of them were already in lowercase, just kept the way it is. I will take another example. movie Three Idiots. So if I try to movie, you can give any name. Modified is equals to movie dot case fold print modify. You can see this I has been lowercase. I will try to do something over here. You can see those all those uppercase characters are converted into lowercase characters. I hope this is clear. Then we have center as one of the method. What does this center do? Uh, if I give some text, if I initialize some text, it just and you can see how its syntax is. In this earlier methods, we have not passed any arguments into it. If you can see over here, there were no arguments. Arguments in the sense in this parenthesis we have not passed anything. But you can see in this method we have passed something. What does that mean? That means is that if I every this particular method will expect some arguments in it. What does that arguments will be? Let's assume that on the first place I want 10. What does this 10 mean? 10 means it is a length of the string. Okay, it will be the output length of the string. Right now, if I look over here, the the current length of the string is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and it is expected that the length of this string would turn into 10. Okay, and the second argument, uh, it is expected that what are those characters you want to cover up this string by? What are those characters you want it to be after and before, so that this string would be in center? I will, if I print this statement, you can able to see. You can see now the character. First, we'll check what are the how many characters are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got that 10? And it has actually kept our original string into center one, and it has actually wrapped our string by this star because we have passed the second argument. We'll take another example. Suppose I have the text as alpha Charlie. Okay, and if I give some modified is equals to alpha dot center. Let's give first argument as a 20. I want the 20 characters, and instead of star I'm gonna give hash. Okay, and if I try to print this one, yes, string object has no okay, there is a typo. You can see now it has given us output as 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and this particular text is in between those. So we might not use this method more often, but just try to understand, as the name suggests, it ultimately bring our text into center. I hope this is clear. Then another method is count. This method is also takes one argument. That is, you try to count how many how many character is present into the string. What is exactly count? You can see this is a text I have taken for example. Python is powerful and Python is very easy to learn. So if I try to check how many Python word is over here, it is expected that the output should be 2, 1, 2, because there are two output. And if I try to print that one, you can see there are two outputs. So I will take another string just for the example, some text Rahul print counted r is equals to some text dot count and give it as R, and it is expected that output should be 4. Correct, because there are 4 R in our statement. Yeah, you can do this one. Please try to note is that if I try to put it into one lowercase, it will still give us it will give the value as 3 because it is ignoring the lowercase. That means it's a case sensitive case. It's a case sensitive method. If you give capitalize R, it will only try to extract whatever the strings. If I try to give R, it will only give us one because it is now try to find how many instances of this two are over here. I hope you are getting what I'm trying to say. So please note this point. So this count method is simply to the count the instances of a particular character. Then we have this method called encode. We are not going to use this method more often, but I'm just going to explain you. No need to worry about this method. Just convert the text into there are different type of encodings of a strings. On a basic level, you need to worry about it since um, since this encoding and all our web related concepts. Whenever we gonna whenever we gonna mm, whenever we gonna develop web pages and all, that is how we're gonna use these concepts in the later part of our course. But right now, please try to understand this encoding. If I give it UTF, it will convert this text into some sort of binary. Okay, it has created the printed one. If I try to check the type, right, the type, it's a bytes. I hope I'm able to make you understand this from this particular one. No need to worry about this at the moment. We're gonna do it in the later part of the course. But try to understand that encode. There are different type of encodings that we used in our web frameworks, for that matter, web development, HTML pages. That's where we're gonna use this method. Moving forward, we have this ends with method. If I try to, it will give us a boolean value. Ends with means it will try to check. It is also expecting first argument. And is try to the first argument is if we want to check whether our string ends with this character. In this case, here full stop. It will give us true value because our string indeed is ending with full stop. I will take another example. Some random string, foolish. Okay, and if I try to ends, I will give any other. I can give any other name to the variable. In this case, I will take this one up. If I try to give this as a ends with, and if I give first argument say n, in this case it will give us false because our string is not ending with n, it is ending with h. See, and if I try to give it h over here, yeah, you can see over here it has given us value as true. So I hope this was very simple. It just give us two boolean results. It try to check what is our first argument. If it is ending with true, say whatever the characters we are going to give as first argument to this method, it will return us that. So moving on, we have expand tabs. So expand tabs is basically, if you can see, there are special characters in Python. So this slash t over here is one of that character. So if I try to, what I'll do, I'll comment out this code. If I first try to print this one, I want to show you what does exactly means. See this one? This is actually as we type on our keyboard, there's a tab button. It is actually putting up the space. Right now, I'm using this in Jupyter notebooks. That is the reason that it has this tabs. It's picking up randomly. So if I try to uncomment this one, yeah, you can see this expand tabs by 4. It has actually expanded our string by the 4 tabs. Wherever there is a T, wherever there is a tab, sorry, tab character, it has actually expanded by four space buttons. You can see it has actually done that. Okay, so ultimately you have to know this one in such cases that we're gonna expand there will be whenever there are special characters. In this case, if that there is a T, it will try to expand it. Very simple, very easy, nothing difficult over here. And then there is a find. Please try to understand and that in Python, for every string, for any for that matter, any list, it is an there will be an indexes. If you look at this one, and it begins with zero, so there is a text, one of the object which I have initialized. The index position of p is zero. Okay, I'm not gonna take very complicated. Let's take this example. So p the index of p is basically zero. Then y is one. T is basically two. Sorry, yeah, two. Edge three, O four, and five. So I hope I'm able to make you understand what does exactly this means by. In case of indexing is just like assigning some position to that particular character. So here, in case of Python, the indexing begins with zero. So now this find method will give us what is the exact index of that. So if I I want to know what is the index of h. You can see 3. It has given us answer as 3. That means it is present at the third position. I'll take another one. Take 2. Rahul is a good person. Modified text 2 dot count. Oh, sorry, not count. Index. Right now we are finding it. So find. Good. We'll first check. Okay. So let's start. R is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Space is also considered one of the character, one of the position. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and at the 11th position it is finding our substring, as I called it, to a character. So it should give us its positions 11. Yeah, you can see over here. It has given its position as 11. So we can use this method for several kind of purposes. We're gonna use this extensively. This find method. Then we have ends with method. Then we have count method. These are the most important method. Capitalize, case fold. We're gonna use them extensively in our program. And yeah, I mean, please do a lot of practice to these methods. There are a lot of other methods with strings. That is we're gonna cover into the next lecture. But until now, just please keep up with me. Please do a lot of practice and do follow, subscribe my channel. Learn AI with Rahul. We're gonna make an AI aware students. We're gonna make students aware about AI. We're gonna teach, but the basics for that, your basics should be strong. So Python is gonna use for it. So we should know nitty-gritties of Python, and that is the reason we should know the basic data types of it as well. So please do practice, and we're gonna again meet into the next lecture. Until then, goodbye. Yeah.